Garbage Day! That's right. Haul out all your old crap nobody wants anymore, because we're going to the planet Junkion for today's look at Studio Series Wreck-gar. So here's his box. There's his picture in an awesome battle pose. He's from the movie, the best not Bumblebee movie. I love that name, Wreck-gar. Still don't really know what it actually means, but it can mean whatever you want it to mean. There's that same picture on the side. There's the same picture over there, just a close-up shot. On the back, you have pictures of the toy. And inside, we have a diorama that's actually not a scene we've seen recently. It's actually the planet Junkion. Apparently they're having a party or something. Although there's nobody here on this to see it, to be seen. And there's a ship, I think. So, Wreck-gar. Here is his robot mode. I do quite like this toy. So, backstory on Wreck-gar, I don't really know him much of his personality, but he does come from the planet Junkion, which I mentioned, which is apparently made up of old crap humans threw away. It condensed into a planet somehow not called Earth, because, we're going that way anyway. And it turned out robots that look like this. Or occasionally ones that look like this. This toy honestly gets way more hate than it deserves. People complain about it being complicated. It's a little fiddly, but I think it deserves more love than it gets. Mind you, I had to actually take him out of my collection over there and sit him here and go, okay, how does this work? But I could still figure out how it worked. And in my opinion, if you can still figure out how it works, it's not a bad toy. Mind you, you can still figure out how to work bad toys, but that's not necessarily... I'm trying to make a point, and I feel like I'm screwing up. Anyway, he is better than he gets credit for. But this guy is the one to replace him. After the Combiner Wars version, that totally doesn't count because I never wanted to pick one up. But this is Wreck-gar, and I absolutely love his robot mode. Like, he looks so good. It's amazing that you can make something look this good out of a pile of junk. Am I right? So let's take a look at that head. First off, facial hair. He's Dr. Robotnik, maybe? But how does a robot have facial hair? I don't know. But I do know those red eyes are kind of creepy. Especially on ostensibly a good guy. He's supposed to be allied with the Autobots. He's not an Autobot. He's a Junkion. So he doesn't have an Autobot symbol or anything like that. Oh, well, the box gave him an Autobot symbol. So the box considers him an Autobot. We'll consider him an Autobot. But, like, he's well-proportioned. He's tall and lanky in just the right places. Also, much like a woman wearing too much makeup, he is trying to hide a lot of baggage underneath. Like, if you can see, his engine block is his ribs. That's pretty awesome. Not sure if I'm a huge fan of the sort of orange and gray and brown. Although I do like the red. And one of my favorite design bits of this guy, he's got laser nipples, or laser tits, whatever you want to call them, that are on ball joints. So you can adjust his boobs. I want to insert a joke about that, but I'm not going to, because any joke I come up with will immediately sound sexist. So, what else about him? I like the fact that he just has spikes hanging off him wherever he wants, like off each wrist and off each knee. And I can't really tell whether he's wearing shoes. There's something going on with his feet. I get what they're trying to do, but like, what is he wearing on his feet? I wonder. And like, I mean, it's hilarious to me that he actually has love handles, like, that are on hinges. I really like how his chest trims down. Like, that's a really cool look with the cylinder, the almost kidney cylinders, and the sort of button battery belly button. That sounded redundant. I don't know if it was, but do. So yeah, very minor back kibble. The only real indication that he's a motorcycle or what his alt mode is right here. Although we'll talk about that more when we get to the vehicle mode. Articulation wise, his head is on a ball joint. So we're going to look up. Well, you got to kind of unpeg things, but he can look all the way up. He can look straight forward. If you tab his chest back in, you can go all the way around, showing off the back of his head, which most times don't have detail on robots, but that'll play a factor in the alt mode. So, shoulders, universal joint, very nice range. You can go all the way up. Almost. You can't go quite straight up unless you do that. And then you can go, ow, he dislocated his shoulder. But very nice range of motion. You do get your bicep swivel. Show the toy closer to the camera, you idiots. That transmutate video was hard to watch. You do get an elbow joint, 90 degrees. You do get a tiny bit of backwards. And it's not really not really point of articulation, but it's a transformation joint. I count it because it's a wrist hinge, which, given his melee weapon, I very much appreciate being able to use that. But he also does have a proper wrist swivel on a mushroom peg. His spikes aren't on pegs, aren't on joints. His waist is free flowing. He even has a bit of an ab crunch. Now, if I had one tiny nitpick about this robot mode, is I sort of wish that pegged in a bit firmer. Like, maybe it's a good thing it doesn't, but it just kind of feels a bit too easy to flop him forward. Because it's also a transformation joint. Its main focus is a transformation joint, but it does give you nice ab range. And also, if you want, you can de-transform him for a bit of a curl. Not much, but just, well, about that much. Although it does expose his guts. If you're alright with it, you can use it. Hips, you can go all the way forward, all the way back. Here's my other main problem with this robot mode. It's a bit of a bigger nitpick. He's got ratcheted outwards motion. I thought we left that in freaking 2016. Like, his stock still looks pretty good, but when you go even just one joint out, one click out, it's very much too far out. Like, I'd rather have it somewhere like there, and you can sort of go in between the ratchets. Like, it's soft enough click that it does basically stay there and play how you want. I don't like that much outward. Like, if you're gonna do an outward hip motion, I'd rather have the forward and backward be ratcheted and the outward just be a hinge. That being said, it does have very nice range of motion if you're willing to get over the annoyance. So you got that. You do get a sculpt breaking thigh swivel. You do get 90-degree knee, and you also get almost other way 90-degree knee, mostly for the transformation. It actually, you do get 90 because it hard locks into 90. And you get an ankle hinge along with a tilt. So overall, very nice posability. There were a couple points, annoyances. Tiny thing. This being a tiny thing, the hips being a bit of a bigger thing. But overall, I do like his robot mode a lot. Like, a lot more than I expected. So for accessories, in a good old Wreck-gar standard, his accessories are his wheels. So you get 2 wheels, being a motorcycle. And they're not exactly the same like you would expect. It's kind of hard to notice, but one of them is actually a little bit thicker. So I'd say this one's thick with 1 C, this one's thick with 2 C's. But other than that, they're pretty much the same mold. And they can fit on any one of his spikes. There's a hole in each side and a dedicated port, so you just plug it on and it's a wheel shield. A wheeled, if you will. And his range of motion does give him very decent shield poses. You can definitely put it in front of him and block some projectiles. You could give him double shield if you want. I don't really see the strategy behind double shield, so I just tend to put one on one of his legs, and they can spin freely. Because instead of putting another shield on his hand, you gotta save room for his melee weapon. A spinning 4-bladed axe. Get axle. It's an axle. Oh, that's such a lame joke. And it does fit into his nicely sculpted hands. I kind of like the knuckle duster he's got going on. What kind of name? Does a 4-bladed axe have a name? How about we ask Shad what he thinks about the battlefield effectiveness of a 4-bladed axe like this? Basically a cross, but made out of blades. Thankfully, it's not the Iron Cross. And I didn't even realize that that's what these are supposed to be in the Reveal the Shield Junkion. I don't know if I named him Wreck-gar in that video, but looking at the head, he's not Wreck-gar. He's just one of his Junkion compatriots. But yeah, these weapons are also supposed to be 4-bladed axes. I didn't even realize that. But it does spin very nicely and freely. And you can also sort of half-ass a weapon combination with the shield tires, where you can just slide this in, and he can't really hold it at all. But it's a half-assed weapon combination. Chalk one up for blah, 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 unintended features. And for weapon storage, you can plug it into the gas canister or whatever this is called on a motorcycle. And due to his range of motion, if you actually put it handle facing upwards, he can at least look like he's reaching for it. He can't really stick it in his hand without popping it off, but at least he has the posability to make it look like he can. So, robot mode, very, very good. A hell of a lot better than I expected a Wreck-gar toy to ever be. I'm so glad Hasbro and Takara finally cut the crap and gave us a Wreck-gar that actually looks like Wreck-gar and is also a well-made toy. Because I'm still ignoring the Combiner Wars one. It doesn't count. As much as you want to justify a combiner with 4 Junkions, Junkion Maximus, if you will, no. So, let's get to the motorcycle. So we're going to start by removing his accessories. Rotating his arm up, and make sure the spike is facing backwards on each side, and then fold in his wrists. And we're going to be done with the arms for now. Take the chest plate, fully extend it out, and also rotate the hinge the main chassis of the motorcycle backwards and flip up the whatever you call that part, this with the steering. So you're going to do that, and you're going to fold that all the way back, and now you can unhinge the crotch and the ab crunch, and we'll leave the back like that for now. So you want to take this section and make sure it's all the way inside as much as you can, along with the head going into that right there. You want it to look like that. So his head is sticking up there, and that hinge is all the way inside, because that's the only way you're going to get clearance for his arms. And they do say this specifically, at least in the wiki, that the thicker tire is the one that's intended for the front. Now, I've done my own research on this, i.e. playing with the toy enough, and either wheel actually works. Like, they both spin freely in the front and the back, so it really doesn't matter which tire you put up front and which one you put in the back. And also, you want to peg the arms. I'm going to show this. Those tiny pegs, ports, above the elbow. Sort of hard to see right there, but they peg up into the chest plate. And now we come to the legs, and all you're going to do is lock that in place and hinge the foot all the way back. And the foot is going to tab in right in there with that port. So you just basically plug his foot into his shoulder. And that's one side, and the other side. And then you come to the second wheel. You could have done this already if you were smart, unlike me, and shove it in between his knees. And for one last thing, take the axe and plug it, actually plug it in right back there, because there's a tiny peg right there. And there you have Wreck-gar. Wreck-gar. It's not a. It's the joke isn't funny if you have to explain it. In his motorcycle mode, and it certainly is a motorcycle. Kind of barely. First off, hello. You know, there's a hole right in it. That's kind of a problem. But the counterpoint is he's made up of junk. He's not going to have... This is accurate to the character, and it represents his personality. So I'm fine with it, even though some people might not be. It's accurate. He's not supposed to be a really cool motorcycle. He's not like a Harley Davidson or one of those kind of things. He's just a bike. Basically, a really clunky bike. Oh, I actually forgot a step. There are these two panels right there on the backs of his shins that you actually fold down as stabilizers. You know, kick bars, whatever you want to call them. You know, the thing... what the fuck is it called? I forget. It allows your motorbike to stand up without falling. Kick pedal? No, that's not it. But yeah, let's give it a good look. Now this part is fully in view and intentionally in view, so we can look at it. The gas can. Is it the gas can? The engine block? Because the engine block is right there. Whatever it is, it definitely looks like you could pour some Energon into it. And now we know why the back of his head is detailed the way it is, because it has speedometers on it. It has gauges for tires and speed and all that. That's a neat little thing. And also, I didn't show this off because I forgot, but in the transformation, this panel actually gets revealed. There's a tiny bit of automorph when you stick the head in. And that panel gets shoved out front. But other than that, this definitely looks like it could be in Mad Max. Given the freaking spikes everywhere on... These look freaking lethal. Like he's built out of scrap. He definitely looks like he would fit right in with that. He's also got, again, his lasers on the front. So this is definitely a war machine. Pun! Pun intended! And it is actually able to fit another Wreck-gar. You can fit, if you got a second one, or I guess an inevitable junkie on repaint, you can actually sit him right here. But since I don't, we'll have to use, say, Studio Series Hot Rod. Because apparently this, while the Voyager does fit, this is more designed for deluxes, just due to the proportions. So let's take Rodimus right here, and actually stick his articulated hands in the handlebars. I mean, I could if he had outward. Well, ow! Oh, the axe fell off. There we go. Eh, it kind of works. It's not the best connection because he doesn't have. Hot Rod doesn't have much of this shoulder motion, at least from this angle. But, you know, like he has it like that, but that doesn't really help in this specific pose I'm trying to get him in. But you know, that doesn't look too bad. Granted, Hot Rod doesn't look very comfortable riding him like this because he's all the way up here and like he's not really sitting down. Just he can do it though. Hey, gold star. You know what? I would cut away, but since I made a big fuss about how this toy deserves more love, I am actually going to transform, reveal the shield Junkion on camera. I know, horrifying. But, if you actually just pay attention to where things go, it's not as confusing as people want to believe. Like, boom, arms done. This goes this way. Nope. This goes this way. Oh, here I am. I'm gonna get shit on. I'm gonna get comments being like, "Ruh, but you said it was easy and yet you f***ed it up." I said it. I didn't say it was easy. I said it's easier than. I popped the ball joint. It's easier than people are willing to admit. Oh yeah, and I've also. Where did that go? Cracked one of the hinges. Nice. Nice. So. Come on. Yes, yes, I know. Wait, is that how that goes? That's how that goes. But is it? Oh my god. I hate this. Well, I don't hate transforming this guy. Oh, there we go. Oh, it's foot popped out of his ball joint. Goddamn. I don't have a problem making an ass of myself on YouTube, but I do have a problem with this video being half an hour. There we go. Yeah, it's almost done. Now, I'm going to go back on my words a little bit. Not about the transforming, about the giving us a proper Wreck-gar that looks like Wreck-gar. I actually do like this idea of the sort of motocross bike reimagining for Wreck-gar. See? I did it. Didn't take too long, but I did it. It took longer than I wanted it to, but yeah, I like the idea. He's still a clunky mess. Excuse me, Hot Rod, but you need to let go of the vehicle. You are too intoxicated to drive. Do you have your M1, sir? Like, if we look at the two, sort of in comparison, they're both clunky pile of messes with, like, things exposed. But I like the idea of the motocross bike reimagining. Oh, I didn't even add the final part. This cleverly becomes a part of him. Also, I really think this is the most clever they've ever come up with for Wreck-gar's axe weapon. Is just actually incorporating it into the vehicle as a tailpipe. Like, that's really cool. So, I think we should be giving more love to this guy. That being said, this is the one that's going to be displayed on my shelf. Because this guy has better plastic, and he's more faithful. I don't want to bum G1 for the sake of bumming G1. But yeah. Also, the biggest thing, why did I need to say that twice? About this update, it no longer looks like he's grabbing his wheel with his hands. His hands have actually folded in. That literally changes everything about this motorcycle design. So, thank you for watching. Hope you have enjoyed. Did you know that in the animated series, this guy was voiced by freaking Weird Al Yankovic? That's freaking awesome. The toy, not as good. The voice acting, mwah. But for this guy, highly recommend him. If you're a fan of the character, it's definitely less of a hassle to transform than the Reveal the Shield one. And thankfully, it doesn't turn into a limb like the Combiner Wars one. But yeah, absolutely recommend the hell out of this guy. I gave him. You want to do a ratings? I don't really want to do a rating, but I give him 8 piles of garbage out of 10. He's a very nice and very solid figure. This motorcycle mode is not going to fall apart at all. Nothing's going to come unpegged. Unless you actually chucked it at something, but... I'm trying to get him to roll on my hardwood floor. Doesn't really want to do it. So maybe don't yeet him on your hardwood, but... Yeah. I'm trying to think of a garbage-related pun. And I got nothing. So thank you for watching. Until next time. Motorcycle. Yeah, I got nothing. Bye.